Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Previously, thank Mr. Ruli and Mr. Fakhri Hamdani as the lecturers in charge of social linguistic and education who have given us the opportunity to present today. So today's material is Language, Society, and Education, which will be explained by Group 2 with Miss Alma Rohadatul as moderator and second speaker.
Me, Rani Kencana Manik, as a first speaker.
And me, Konita Azara Mubin, as a third speaker.
Okay, so now let's just start our presentation. The first speaker is Nurhayani. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Sama, for the opportunity. Next slide, please. Okay, all right, guys. I'm Nurhani Kencana Manik, and now I will explain the relationship between language, society, and schooling in social linguistics. First, sociolinguistics sees language as a social practice. This means the way students speak in school show their identity, culture, and social background. Second, schools are a place where certain ways of speaking are seen as standard or more correct, while others may be judged as less fluent. This can affect how students are seen as smart or capable. Third, students come to class with different language skill, their home languages, local dialects, and ways to communicating. Instead of treating these differences as a problem, sociolinguistic suggests we should use them as resources for learning. For example, through mixing languages or comparing them. Fourth, the way teachers and students talk in class, who gets to speak, who is asked question, and how feedback is given influence how students learn and join in. And then I will answer three questions about the relationship between language, society, and schooling. The first question is, how are language and society connect in education? According to the journal that I found, sociolinguistics sees language as a social practice. This means that the way students speak at school reflects their identity, culture, and social background. Language is not only a tool of communication, but also a sign of who they are and where they come from. In schools, there are certain language varieties, like the standard language, are often seen as more correct, while others may be valued less. This show how language and society are strongly linked in education. And the second question is, how does school reflect whether society's language practice? School reflects society's language practices in several ways. The first is through language policies. For example, Indonesian as the national language, local language for cultural identity, and English for globalization. The second is by showing how some languages are given higher status than others. For instance, Indonesian is seen as a language of unity. Local languages preserve diversity, and English is linked to global competitiveness. The last one is through classroom practice, who is allowed to speak, how teacher give feedback, etc., which represent whether social power relation. So, school act as a mini version of society where language, policy, and practices are played out. And then the last question for what do Mayor Hove or Holmes say about domains of language use? Meyerhoff and Holmes explain that language is used in different domains of language use. A domain is a social situation where the choice of language depends on participant, setting, and topic. For example, a student may speak a local language at home, Indonesian in class, and English in certain subjects. This show that language use always depends on social context, identity, and norms. And finally, the main point is that teachers should use approaches that respect and include student language backgrounds. They can design lessons that are fair, reduce language bias, and talk about the value of different language varieties. According to Felicia 2020, sociolinguistic and teacher can become agents of change by applying this idea in classroom and education policy. That's all from me. The next material will be delivered by Salma. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Chana. So, guys, let's move on to the next material, which which is language policy in Indonesia education. So, to explain this, I refer to Rosmala Dewi's article 2019 entitled Language Policy, Identity, and Bilingual Education in Indonesia. Historical overview, as well as Hamid and Mustafa's article 2019 on policies on language education in Indonesia. Both articles are relevant because they highlight the relationship between language, society, and education through the development of Indonesia's language policy. Historically, Indonesia has experienced several phases of language policy. Bahasa Indonesia was declared as the national language in the Youth Pledge of 1928, and since independence, it has served as the main language of education. Local languages such as Japanese, Sundanese, and Bugis continue to be recognized and taught in some schools as form of preserving cultural identity. Meanwhile, English entered the school curriculum during the New Order and later expanded in bilingual programs during the Reform era, especially at international schools and universities aiming for global competitiveness. So, language is not only a tool for communication, but also a marker of identity and unity within society. In education, language policy determines which languages are prioritized, however, and how they are used and what impact they bring to students. So now let me answer three key questions about language policy in Indonesian education. First question, what is the official role of Bahasa Indonesia in education? So Bahasa Indonesia is the official medium of instruction at all levels of education. Since independence, it has served not only as the national language, but also as a unifying tool and the main language for delivering the curriculum, developing academic literacy, and shaping students' identity. Second question, how are local languages treated in schools? So, local languages such as Japanese, Sundanese, and Bugis are recognized and taught as school content subject, mainly in elementary school. The purpose is to preserve rego- regional culture and linguistic diversity. However, their role is limited and often declines because of the dominance of Bahasa Indonesia and the influence of globalization. Third question, what role does English play in the curriculum? English is considered the main foreign language in Indonesia's education system. It is not the medium of instruction. except in certain bilingual or international programs, but it is taught as a compulsory subject. The goal is to provide students with access to global communication, science, and technology, as well as to enhance global competitiveness. Both Rosmala Dewi and Hamid and Mustafa argue that Indonesia must balance these three priorities: Bahasa Indonesia as a national identity, local languages as cultural heritage, and English for globalization. However, challenges remain such as teacher competence, facilities, and gaps between policy and practice. So, in conclusion, a language policy in Indonesia shows the close relationship between language, society, and education, with schools serving as the main arena where these policies are implemented. So thank you. The next topic will be delivered by Konita. Times is yours.
Okay, thank you, Salma, for the opportunity. Next slide, please. So, I will explain the impact of national language policy on English learning in schools and universities. Research shows that language of instruction policies strongly affect student outcomes. Hamad et al. 2025 highlight that when English is imposed as the main medium without adequate support, students face barriers in comprehension and achievement. Instead of improving their English, many focus simply on surviving in class. Makaro et al. 2018 add that English medium instruction can raise exposure to English, but only benefits students with a strong foundation. Otherwise, it creates gaps in competence. This leads to the first key point. Language policy shapes English proficiency unevenly. Strict English-only approach often widen inequality, especially for students from disadvantaged backgrounds who lack extra exposure outside school. The second is, does early exposure to Bahasa Indonesia or local language help or hinder? Evidence suggests it helps if managed well. Using the mother tongue in early education builds strong literacy and comprehension, which later transfer to English learning. But if English is delayed too long, students may struggle in higher education where English dominates. A balanced bilingual approach rather than a sudden switch works is best. Valuing local language also boosts motivation because students feel their identity is respected. The third point is teachers face major challenges. Many are not fully prepared to teach complex content in English, leading to stress and oversimplified lessons. Schools also lack consistent research and training, so teachers often have to find their own way. At the same time, supportive tools such as bilingual glossaries or digital apps can make a big difference. Imagine a first-year student in a biology lecture delivered in English. Without support, they may focus more on translating vocabulary than understanding the science. But with bilingual materials or scaffolded slides, the lecture becomes more accessible and the student can learn both biology and English in parallel. So national national language policy has powerful effects on English learning. If English is imposed without preparation, it can cause inequality and frustration. But with teacher training, learner support, and flexible bilingual strategies, it can enhance both subject learning and English competence. Next slide. In conclusion, the relationship between language, society, and education is very close. Language is not only a tool for communication, but also reflects identity, culture, and power in schools. In Indonesia, language policy must balance three priorities: Bahasa Indonesia as a national language, local language for cultural diversity, and English for global competitiveness. And however, the implementation of these policies is not always easy. When English is used as the main medium of instruction, it can bring benefits for global readiness, but also challenge for both students and teachers. Without proper support, English-only policies may create learning barriers, lower confidence, and widen achievement gaps. To make language policy effective, schools and universities need teaching training, bilingual resources, and strategies that respect students' linguistic backgrounds. The key message is that good language policies shouldn't choose one language over another, but instead create a balance that supports unity, diversity, and academic success for all learners. So that's all from us. Thanks for watching our video. The last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.